Hey, this is Tony Daly, and it is Wednesday night, the 6th of November. And what I want to do is I want to take you through basically a process that I go through at the end of every day when I take a look and review all of my positions on. And I look at it as kind of like a fire drill, and what it basically does is it level sets my mind as to where I am with all my positions, and I look at potential adjustment points depending on if the market makes certain moves either up or down, or certain binary events occur, or anything like that. But I don't like to be surprised. I like to have a plan. So I put on several trades for the month of November based on my strategy and my profit targets. And the first one we're going to look at is we're going to look at Apple. And I put on a November, December 525 put calendar, and I've done 4 contracts of that. It was $6.95 a piece. And as we take a look at the risk profile, because this is basically how I do it, is I take a look at the risk profile. And these positions were very recently put on. So I locked the price in that I paid for the debit. And what I'm typically looking for is I'm looking for 10 to 15% of the amount that I have into the trade. So this has about $2,800 into the trade, and I'm looking for about $280 to $300. If I'm able to pull that out, I'll take it out. So here's my position right now. Here is the calendar, and here is the T-line, and I'm looking at my position right here. Now, what I'm looking at is basically saying that I am looking at a break-even point at expiration at about 511. Now, does that mean I'm going to wait till 511 to put on an adjustment? Probably not, but it's at 519 now. I think if it goes down to 515 or so, I will be looking at potentially putting on another adjustment trade. Now, for a calendar, for me, the only adjustment trade that I could put on would be another calendar, and that would make this a double calendar, which would widen the profit zone. So I've written down in my log that basically says that if I am anywhere between 510 and 515, I will add another put calendar. Okay, so you're kind of getting the idea of what I do. Let's take a look at the next trade that I have put on. The next trade I put on was Amazon. And if we look at the position I put on Amazon, is I have done what's called an iron butterfly. An iron butterfly is a little bit of an advanced trade. Those of you that know what a butterfly is, an iron butterfly basically takes the other side of that, where you use calls and puts. And an iron butterfly trade is basically put on as 2 separate trades. You'll notice I have calls and puts. My middle strike is the same. In this case, it's 360. So here's my middle strike. And then I have my wings set 20 apart. So 360, and then we have 340, and then we have 380. So basically, here's my T-line. So this is basically a new trade. And again, if you look at the width of the strikes is 20, and so 20 is $2,000, and multiply that by 2, so I have $4,000 risk on this trade, and I collected a total of $1,500. So I collected $1,500, and I have 4,000 less 1,500, which means I have $2,500 in risk on this trade. So that's the margin that I have to put up for this trade. And again, I'm looking for 10 to 15%. So if this thing should go positive by $250 or so, I'd be looking to take it off. I don't like to hold things as they get closer and closer to expiration, because the gamma kicks in and only bad things happen. If you have a profit, I believe in taking it. So again, so how would I trade this? So I'm looking at 340 and 380 as being my wings. There is not a whole lot of adjustments that you could do, but if I see it swaying too far down to one side, I can basically put on a put to bring my deltas down, to cut my deltas in half to 2/3. And I would do that on the call side or the put side. So if my deltas would go inordinately high or positive or inordinately low negative, I would be looking to put on an adjustment trade to basically cut down the deltas. Okay, so but right now we're okay. We're sitting right over here, and so far so good. The next one I put on was Netflix. So here's Netflix, and Netflix is a double diagonal. So here we got a little bit of everything. Now, why would I put on a double diagonal? A double diagonal is a low, it's a positive Vega trade, and it is done when implied volatility is low. Okay, and implied volatility is low, meaning the VIX is basically at record low levels. So this trade will get better if you look at Vega. This trade will improve if Vega goes up because the Vega is positive here. My theta says that this thing will make me $17.93 a day, and I'm a little bit positive deltas. So a double diagonal is basically you sell a strangle and you buy a strangle. And you typically buy a strangle the next month out at different strike prices. That's what makes it a diagonal. If you use the same strike prices, it would be called a double calendar. So think of it as a short strangle and a long strangle with your long strikes 5 points beyond the short strike. So here we have 330 on the put side, and we have 325 out in December. So the idea is that these Novembers, the fourth week in November, these are going to decay faster than the Decembers are because they expire quicker and theta will move quicker. So the idea is again to profit from as little price movement as possible, but to take advantage of theta decay. Now this trade cost me, you can see if we eyeball it, I put it on as two different strangles. This trade cost me basically about $11 or about $1,100. The difference between $2,400 and $1,300. So at $1,100, again, I'm looking for about 10 to 15%. So anywhere between 110 and 125, I would be looking to take this off. Okay, the next one we're looking at would be my good friend the Rut. And the Rut is one of my favorite contracts to trade because it's just fun. But the Rut is unforgiving, and you have to be quick and know how to adjust the Rut. So it's not for the faint of heart. It's basically 10 IWM contracts. So when I say that I've only put one on, if this was the IWM, which is its ETF counterpart, this would be 10 IWM contracts. So what I did was I went out to basically around the 15 deltas, and those were my short strikes. So my short strikes were 10/30, and I went out to December. So let's take a look at December. And here is these. And December we did the 10/30s on the put side, and you could see those were right around 16 delta, 15 delta, 16 delta. I could have taken the 25, but I kind of like using the round numbers better than the even numbers, better than the odd numbers, and the round numbers. They seem to get more volume, and it seems to be easier to get a fill on the round numbers rather than the odd strikes. So basically, and then I went 10 wide. So I went to the 30s and the 20s. So I sold the 690, I bought back the 570s. Okay, and that resulted in a credit. I did the same thing on the call side, 1160, 1170. And where are those? Those are right here. The 1160s are here, and the 1170s are here, 235 to 350. And again, you could see the 1160s were 13 delta, so I went a little bit beyond. And the reason I did that, I didn't have to do that, but the reason I did that is because this market, I just did a little bit further I gave it a little bit more room on the upside because this market has just done nothing but go up. So I wanted to have a little bit of extra room to the upside. So anyway, I collected a 235 credit and I risked the difference, which would be $1,000 minus 235. So I margined $765 for this one position rut. Normally I would do more than that, but this one I just put in on one. I may put in more later on, but for now I just want to take a look and see what the market's doing and feel it out. So that's this position, and generally I have adjustment points on this, and my adjustment points are when the deltas of either side go up by 10 points. So the deltas were actually 13 and 12. So if I see the short deltas go up to minus 23 or minus 22 or minus 25, somewhere around that, I'll start looking to adjust. The idea behind an adjustment is adjust when you can, not when you have to. Okay, so that's about it for now. I do have some other trades on, but I'll go over them in another tomorrow's fire drill. And we're going to take a look at these ruts, and we're going to see how these things are doing. So anyway, this is Tony Daly, and hope this helped. And try to make it a habit of going through your open positions at the end of the day, and just do a little fire drill that kind of says, if this happens or that happens, what am I going to do? Because the last thing you want to do is to have to panic and react. Have a plan. Write it down. Know what you want to do before it has to be done. Okay? And hope this helps, and hope you keep tuning in. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.